We know a little, though we don't know very much, about where these legends come from. Quite often they're stories that are made up to explain something which was important much later. In the case of Mucius Scaevola, it's probably to explain the name Lefty in the family. In the case of Cloelia, it's probably a statue. There's a mention of a statue at the end of a story. A statue of Cloelia sitting on horseback. And it looks as if the statue wasn't in fact of Cloelia at all. It was probably of a goddess, but a story was made up to explain it. And to find, once you have your young man who shows great virtue, it's good to find a young woman to show some great virtue as well. She is one of a group of hostages, and the way Livy tells the story is that the hostages were necessary as a result of the Tarquin episode, as Porsenna is already impressed enough that he wants to do something of a deal, but he has to negotiate first, so he needs some hostages to pull his own garrison out of Rome while the discussions go on. So hostages are needed, some girls, some boys, and Cloelia leads all the girls back. And that is finally the thing that really impresses Porsenna, and he finally withdraws. Where did Livy get his information from? Well, there were several writers who had written at some length about early Rome. Very few of them, perhaps only one in fact, had written at anything like the length that Livy went on to write. And it may be that a fair amount of this is Livy expanding what he found before, perhaps from imagination, simply writing up, and that's what Roman historians did. They didn't simply write, they wrote up, telling stories that were very important to them in what was thought to be the appropriate right style, and that meant a certain amount of elaboration. Or it may be still that there are oral stories, oral traditions, the sort of things that the guides say when they took you around the forum to explain, or the sort of things that the surviving Mucii Scaevolae, the people of that great family, would say about their great ancestor. So probably most of the material that Livy gives us comes from some sort of written source, but it's very much elaborated.